And if you will, on these niggas, if you would pause this, if you're watching it, obviously you're watching it, you're watching the replay, pause it and check out my playlist of I have a playlist of it's called Ride, and that's my videos. It's like rap, hip hop, fun music, and it's about ride. It's like about cruising and rapping and feeling good, feeling confident. All good stuff. And Lil Wayne represented a concept about how we hold on, I gotta get this light. Fuck yeah, boy. Hit a gas, nigga. Hit the gas in this nigga, boy. Niggas out here turning up, boy. You already know. Alright, so basically I'd like you to check out that video before. Did I almost shot past that guy, boy? Almost shot. I gotta be somewhat civilized, but also it's that pattern of movement. It's like you're creating momentum wherever you go. You're not, there's one thing about people following each other when they're walking. You want to, even if you're in a group, you want to stagger a little bit. Make sure you're not just mindlessly following someone, even if you're on the same team, because you all got to look out for each other. It's laws of nature. You all got to be looking for danger, not just waiting for one person to look out. Okay, so that, and then turning that into something more, turning it into just pause this, and I really would like you to watch one video. Scroll through the top videos of my ride selection, the playlist, and so what I'm getting into is this idea of vulva, right? It's like a celebration of women. It's a celebration of life. It's but it's not about, I don't want people to get the mistake that it's about some idea about trying to be like reconnected to the birthing experience. No, it's about that I really find women entertaining when they display their vulva, especially, it even works out well if they have just yoga pants on and they're, you can possibly see a slight outline, or it's to put an emphasis on that. And this is a deviation from trying to make other aspects of the human experience a focal point, such as the breasts, which I think should be more about for those are for like babies, and then PPS, that's more about the man trying to get attention, and it's feminine for a man to want that attention. And also just the very act of intercourse. Of course it's fun, and it should be a way for people to connect and have enjoyment out of life as a loving couple. But there's got to be something more to it. There's got to be an additional element of what I'm going to be calling, it's like what is that, the energy that exists beyond just the guy trying to get off. To me, it should be about worshiping the woman's body, and what easier and funner thing to worship than the way her vulva is, and to compliment her, to make that the focus. Like, for me, that's entertainment. For me, that's like, instead of like say watching TV, or, and I'm not saying that there's not a variety of fun entertainment, and there should obviously be camaraderie and between everyone in sports and different hobbies, and maybe different things like interest in cars or whatever the interests are. But fundamentally, I think the most important thing should be men like celebrating women and their bodies, and this has to do a lot with skin, and it has to do a lot with changing the dynamic from, if you see a woman and you think she's attractive, you need to evolve that into focusing on her skin tone and like what her vulva would look like, and thinking of it in terms of, would you want to give her oral sex? Like that, I in my experience, like if that's the first question you're asking when you're kind of observing a woman, it'll help you to think more clearly. It'll help you to think of, well, is she hygienic, and is she, clean? Like, for example, I wouldn't want to perform oral sex on a woman who wasn't vegan, because to me that it's like a dirty body, and for me, I'm switching lanes on the highway here, pardon me. See, sometimes you got to know when to focus. You got to know when to stop talking. Like sometimes people, people either upset you, but really it's your emotions. So instead of trying to force them to be nice, or force you to outsmart them logically or physically, you need to breathe. So when a person upsets you, don't try to come back with rhetoric or rebuttals. Instead, aim and also look this stuff up, like the Ben Shapiro dating tactics, or debating tactics. There are ways to debate, and there are rationale for debate. Like it's also about, is the debate even worth it? Is it throwing pearls before swine? And so a lot of people will tell me, well, you don't make any sense, the people are not going to listen to you. But really what they're saying is that they're not interested in the subject, because if people were really interested in a particular subject matter, then they would want to talk about it. They would want to discuss, trying to bring all this to a conscious, I'm inviting you to bring these things that we face every day into a more professional and studied level. Like whatever you're doing, even if you're not a manager, research how to be a good manager. That way you can have certain expectations of the managers around you. Never say you work for someone, because it's a blanket statement of submission, just like saying, oh, that's my boss. No, saying you work with people, or that's my supervisor, as if you hired them to be your supervisor at a subconscious level. You're thinking about things in terms of you being, and this is why knowledge is power, because knowledge will allow you to have more information, and it'll allow you to better navigate people. And but getting back to the subject at hand, so I don't want this to I want to emphasize this thoroughly, because I like when people, And by the way, you don't want to go like 15 miles above the speed limit. You always want to be at a most at, you know, because if you do, then that's like a different threshold of tickets. And you know, braking, the biggest time for accidents. Even I was in somebody's vehicle and they were, you know, the easiest way to get in accidents is like on highway, like you're switching lanes and you look back, but the people in front of you slow down, you know what I mean? So, but everything in life can be studied and refined. So even that, like looking at common causes of accidents in driving, looking at common causes of accidents in the workplace, whatever it may be. People may be losing sight in one eye, blindness. They may be losing a finger because they're not practicing safety protocol. But the thing is about the vulva, okay, is it's like a flower, right? It's like inspiring. We look at it and feel good, but the thing is asking cultures if they put an emphasis on it, like do certain religions promote the idea of celebrating the woman and her flower, like the red pill community. There's these characters out here who are all about like trying to, you know, be an attractive quote unquote alpha male and like be an authority in women's life. And I get that. I get the idea of wanting to be masculine and have an ideology that both you and her can follow, but she should want to follow it. She should already be choose it prior to entering into the marriage. That's the reason marriages fail and relationships fail, because relationships aren't even anything. Think about it. It's just a generalized term, relationships. It's not even anything, boyfriend, girlfriend, boys and girls and friends. It's like the fucking words are telling. And then even marriages, that's why I even invented another word, the V-spell union, value, interest, equal, spousal partner for life. Value, interest, equal, spousal partner for life. And so this is someone who you want to be with, and because people get married and they quote unquote cheat because they weren't. It's not true love. True love is defined as a commitment to mutually held values, right? It's like love is about a commitment to an idea, because even if somebody loses their income or if they lose their physical appeal, it shouldn't be based upon that. And when it is based upon that, it fails, and people either cheat or they pretend that, you know, they want to go through it. But you know, you want to push somebody around in a wheelchair if you really love them. You want to pleasure them even if they're not the top 10 of 10 attractive person that you and you know this that you can think of. And this whole idea of like this whole idea of people being where are we? This whole idea of people like trying to, you know, think that they need a larger and larger PPS. It's not about the woman and her flower, first of all, so it's a distraction. It's like, I think there's different levels of things that distract people from who they, you know, what, like celebrating the vulva. And I think that's anything that distracts from that is an issue. And I'm not saying it has to be a constant ongoing thing, but it should be like the main theme of your life. If you're a heterosexual man or or you know, or homosexual woman, or if you say you, what else would it be? If you're in the state of love, and if you're want to be in that frequency, it has to be more than just sexual energy. It has to be like a worship type of loving energy. And I think it's best if the masculine man directs that to the feminine woman, you know, and the feminine woman receives. And so it's like a fun, it's like a, all right, so it's like a culture, though. It's like a culture, and and women themselves, they also have to discover themselves. They should be using, dildos, and they should be, connecting with themselves and being in the love. Here we go. And not waiting for a man or being a man to do that. And they should also be, what else should they be? They should be celebrating their own vulva and not letting men disrespect it or abuse it, and also not letting fancy things like new cars and everything distract from the health potential that they could have, to be as healthy as possible and keep their skin as attractive as possible. And see, what men should be thinking is, what color vulva do they want, and then the corresponding skin color of the woman, obviously is going to be that color, that corresponding color. Okay. All right, so what else do I have to say? Okay, so let me really double down on the whole Andrew Tate and the Red Pill community. Some things that they do. One thing they do is and I'm going to be going into more detail again soon on this, and bringing up videos and citing references. But things that they will do is they'll do things like blame women for deviating and not being good, quote unquote. So that's a problem, because it's always for men. But then they'll say, oh, but men are, you can't ask to take authority. You have to take authority. And the problem with all these guys is, and what the Red Pill is trying to hint at is that you don't want to be, you need to masturbate every day so that you're not reliant upon women to give you that, like you're not like desperate for women or like hoping or wishing that they'll like you, because that's all the second chakra energy. And once you activate that energy, you transcend it, you're beyond it, and you're not controlled by it. But the problem is, most men give up their dreams and their values just because they want to get an orgasm from a woman, but they can give themselves an orgasm. That's what I'm trying to emphasize here. And that's another thing that Andrew Tate and these other characters, they don't speak actively on. They even talk about things like holding their seed, but their semen, but that doesn't make any sense, because it's about getting orgasms, and you can be just as functional. Like think about it like this, like they'll, all these religious and all these, realms, they'll say stuff like, yeah, you can't masturbate, and it doesn't, you can only, have sex with your wife. But think about it, you'd be orgasming every day if you were having sex with your wife, you know what I mean? So it doesn't add up. It's like, it's about the function of the orgasm, and using it to that, the body's naturally designed to do that, and it's a natural, like, enjoyment of the existence of life, and to counteract the harshness of life. It's like something to look forward to. It's intimacy. And so, yeah, another thing these guys don't approve, they don't emphasize is masturbation. Another thing they don't emphasize is providing oral sex to their wife. And they're kind of, and you can actually research this. They talk about this. Myron Gaines, Andrew Tate, and then who else? That goofy Jewish guy. John Zerka. He's another one who's kind of speaks upon these same vibrations, and they don't celebrate and speak about. And here's another thing, guys. It's the power of speaking. When people are not willing to speak openly and publicly about what they do, there's probably something wrong. Like, I'm proudly to talk about, my desire for marriage, but people who are promiscuous are not. They'll want to cloak it, and they'll not be overt with it. And people who, and I always pose this argument, like, if all you're doing is having sex with someone, then you don't want to marry them, and sex is more important than marriage. But the problem with that logic is that, first of all, sex is marriage. Sex and going on dates is how married people, is probably the most convincing way married people can show the public that they are married by and so what else do these Andrew Tate, what else do these characters sexy Asian chicks walking by. Nice. All right. So what else do they? And so what and also, by the way, that's why I like a flat-chested woman, because it puts all the emphasis on the vulva. Like, that's the source, should be the source of peace and serenity for a man, not this kind of hype desperation of trying to find the biggest things, like the biggest breasts or the biggest PPS and the biggest, the tightest VVS and the all the stimulation and the hype and the excitement. It's not a serene experience. And as a stoic man, you need to seek serenity in your life, not make hype and excitement the primary orientation for your life. Okay, so that being considered, right? Then what do we have? Is there anything else that they do that's suspect? So we covered that they blame women for things, but really it's not women's fault. It's men's fault for allowing their daughters to do things. It's men's fault for being desperate and not masturbating, and so they say, forget my values, I'll just follow the woman, do whatever she wants, and say whatever I need to say in order to get intimacy with her, which is the opposite of a principled man. And then women control society, and society just fails because women aren't designed to lead. They're designed to be an emotional counterpart to a man and kind of have this emotional tolerance of young children, and just being at home and being, not wanting that. It's about her wanting, if she wants a masculine man, and this doesn't have to be some type of rich, alpha, quote unquote, man. It just, if a woman wants a man to be masculine, she's gotta take steps to whenever possible. Like, sometimes it's not possible to be masculine because sometimes it's not possible for a woman to be feminine because what? She has to do a job and has to survive in the world and look out for her physicality. You can't be masculine in the world. You can't be feminine in the world, right? So, that being said, whoo! Oh, it's funny. This has been a load, guys. We've been really going for it here. So, what do? They blame women. They discourage or don't emphasize masturbation, which is critical to self-control, which is critical to not being controlled or hoping women like you, but rather focusing on building yourself towards marriage. And then they'll say things like, the vulva is not shouldn't be the center focus of existence. Like, if I say the woman's vulva is the most amazing thing, then it's hard to argue with that. They can't argue with that. But their actions indicate otherwise. And then, is there anything else that these guys do? I'm trying to think that is suspect. Here's the last one, is the multiple wives idea. Like, if you really are attracted to women, and you really want a woman, why would you want more than one woman? Wouldn't one woman be enough? Wouldn't she be attractive enough? Wouldn't you be aroused by her enough? Wouldn't you want to? And so from what I understand, there is a contingent of people who have different genetics, or they have different levels of maturity and personal development and consciousness, and so they are more prone to cheating, even if they're and part of this is because women get emotional and they shouldn't even be going in environments where there might be cheating occurring. I'm going to include a link to this controversial video about a guy explaining how even married women who do cheat because they have this lustful element to them, if they're in the wrong environment, and that's why men have to protect women, and they have for most of history, but now it's like you need to look at what started the feminist movement. You know what I mean? That's how you find out answers. What started the feminist movement is very dark. I'll also include a link to that as well. It's like very demonic. And it doesn't benefit women, because think about it. Even if women were in power and they were like matriarchal authority, what would they do? They'd make men do all the hard jobs, right? But men already do that because we want to celebrate and put emphasis on women. But yeah, so look forward to the links below of Dark Side of, Origins of Feminism, and this other controversial video where this guy, explains how he used to seduce and even, sexually interact with married women, and that's because the wrong environments. A lot of them were alcohol-oriented environments. Obviously, people are going to lower their guard in alcohol kinds of environments. But thanks for watching. We'll have more content coming up, and whoever's watching, you want to leave a quick goodbye in the chat, just so I have one chat. It's okay if you don't, but yeah, I think it's been fun being here with you, and there's more to discover. The reality, guys, is we need to make things more about, less about women. No, we need to make things less about pets and everything else, and we need to make them more about women, and don't be distracted by like women's like large features, like larger breasts or ass. All it is fat accumulations, which will result in toxins, and it's like you want a slim, woman who's has a strong heart, has clear blood vessels with no arterial plaque, and because she's eating, a healthy vegan diet. And yeah. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Let's do a quick light work session just for considerations. And by the way, if you haven't done it already, be sure to get a wedding band. And a nice one. Get like a $40. Get something decent that feels respectable to you, and you can wear it. And it's your commitment to yourself and your future spouse. And what else? Again, it's important to not worry about what people think about you, or say that you're silly or foolish, because they don't like the vulva and they don't like marriage. That's why they say you're strange, or you don't make any sense, or no one's going to listen to you, which is actually something that people say to me a lot. They say that, I have to, go to a fucking, get certifications or get formal education to convince people to listen to me. Like, dude, if you can't discern what I'm saying at face value, and you need somebody else to tell you that I'm accredited or qualified to speak on these subjects, and that'll convince you, then you're truly a sheep. So, and perhaps a lot of people are sheep. They just kind of follow the trends. But I think it's better that nobody is a sheep, and that we're all elevating our consciousness. If we can think independently, if we can be emotionally and financially independent, guess what? We can serve each other better, because we don't need each other. When you need someone, you're not going to be authentic with them. You're not going to tell them the truth. You're not going to be able to say no and set boundaries. When you need someone, it's all inauthentic and insincere. But there is a middle ground where we can meet and have something in common, and that is the celebration of the vulva. And let's do some light work. Let's visualize brilliant white light. Let's imagine that the light is streaming down. Just try wherever you are. As long as it's a safe place. You can like hold your hand like a wand. That's what I like to do, like this, 2 fingers, and sometimes I hold it like right at my waist side, kind of so I can be discreet about it, and I beam whoever I want to, and I imagine a brilliant laser beam stream of white light, a large stream just shooting out and shooting through someone, and it's like we're connecting the energetic field, the unified field of light. We're connecting it all together, people, and that is who we are. We are consciousness. So at the end of the day, even if we don't all go vegan, and we don't create a loving society based upon marriage and family, and we destroy each other with nuclear war and crime because we can't get along, that's not a big deal. We'll incarnate onto another planet, and we'll go from there. We have to come from that place of absolute power and confidence. But imagining brilliant white light, right? So we kind of beam around. But it's important to clear the mind and think of anyone that you might be upset at, like someone where, nice view, nice. Think of someone who you care about, perhaps, or you want them to like you or something, or there's a conflict, and then imagine the brilliant stream of brilliant white light just coming down, them smiling joyfully in exuberance, people around them reacting and smiling. You see their aura glowing. You can see like a brilliant sphere of white light, like protection around them, and just know that is you. You are that white light energy. You can do this to other people. Try experimenting with yourself. Try to think of one more person, and now you imagine you're beaming to them, or you're an angel flying through the sky, and you shoot a beam down to them. It's very easy when you get creative to have these visualizations, and so you just imagine them smiling. And what is that doing? It's programming your mind to have smiling people in your mind, and that's going to attract. See, what people don't realize is you attract the frequency that you're at. So if you're in a loving frequency, if you have your values established, if you know who you are, you're going to attract somebody who has their values established, and obviously they should be the same values as you. Uh, but yeah, but the point is that it's a frequency, and so if you're in a bad frequency, you're going to attract people who are troubled, And I think another thing to consider is that demons may be much more common. It's not like there's one like devil, coming around. There may be lots of demons. They inhabit people, and then these people create conflict. Obviously, when you're angry and you're under the influence of alcohol and you're in your emotional state. That's why they talk about, the Garden of Eden, woman being influenced by the demon. It's because when you're emotional, which women are a lot more, even during their period, it hurts, and it's not their fault, and it's not, but they can feel it. They can the emotions are affecting them. It's just as if a guy was hurt as well. But you see, women often communicate in like emotional terms, and they can pretend to not want to, but it's their natural preference. They emote, quote unquote. And so, yeah, check the links out below. It's going to be very interesting, this controversial guy and the dark roots of feminism. And remember, you can beam whoever you want to. It creates that positive mental program in your mind, which obviously will attract similar mental imagery. So imagine, like, whenever you're watching maybe a presidential debate, imagine all of them smiling and brilliant white light shining down. Blast the whole audience with brilliant white light. Imagine the whole world is this interconnected grid of brilliant streams of white light, like a lit up grid. And then anywhere in the world where there's trouble, you just imagine white light streaming down, people beaming each other, people smiling, people like blasting each other with white light bouncing off of buildings. You get the idea. Let's get creative and let's go. Now check out the links below. I think you'll find them very worthy of analysis and a caution to people who are not truly committed and in love, that it's weakness if you're not in love, So let's talk again soon, and thank you. Check out the links below. The dark side of feminism, and that the reality of that people can and will cheat if they're not truly committed and in love, and especially women can be prone to cheating and manipulated by men. And by the way, in the past, like, these men didn't exist because they were threatened if they did these things. But now there's a society where that doesn't put enough emphasis on punishment. And, like, you got to think about it like this. Like, as a society, we can decide what laws we want. If we want a law against no alcohol, we can. If we want a law against no promiscuity, we can. If we want a law against people under the age of 25, which often their prefrontal cortex is not developed, if we want more laws restricting what they can do, like what they can get a license to do, or if they can get married or not, that type of stuff. Like what is legal? Why just people think that, because the standard is 18, that's how it always is and was. No, as cultures, we need to continue developing and making society a more trustworthy world. I'm not saying trusting, because you never want to trust someone, and you never want to lower your guard even if everything's good. You never want to. It's like an army. You don't want to have a weak army. You want to have a strong army. That's that's a necessity. But obviously the army shouldn't be like going all over the place. It's more about defending our borders, and then maybe acquiring more territory if the people of that place want us to be there. That's another tangent. But again, check out the videos below, and we'll talk soon. Aloha.